Florence isn't just a city, it's a living museum. And in this episode, we're going to explore the layers of time and spirit from the towering medieval gates that once defended this city to a hilltop church that's just like a portal to the heavens, from the quiet strength of the Arno River to the reverent beauty of the Duomo at dusk. And when it's all said and done, what memory of Florence will stay with you? Each chapter is brought to life with original music composed by my collaborator, Rob. Episode 2 starts now. Let's go. Hey, how are you, Rob?
Oh, good, thanks.
That glass of wine at Bellini's, bellissimo. A big thumbs up. And if this episode also hits the spot, share it with a mate and subscribe for more great vibes and sips. Now over to Rob with his music.
So when recording all of these pieces or composing all of these pieces, I was taking each one of them completely individually. But after they were all done and I could look at them, I realized how much there were themes that had pulled through the album. And with Standing Watch in particular, a couple of the themes that came up were gratitude and reverence. So Standing Watch is about the gates. They call them le porte, the doors or the gates that are all around Florence. They're all part of the old wall, which is now mostly gone. But when you're a visitor here, you show up, you turn a corner, you walk down a street, and then there's this gate sitting in front of you, this giant structure. Some of them are towers, some of them are arches, and you're just astonished, at least I was. Writing a piece for them is difficult, and the reason for that difficulty is that there are multiple ones around the city, and I didn't really know how to deal with them, but eventually I really leaned into the feeling that I had when I saw them. And the gate nearest to where I live is alla croce, and when I think of them, I have this deep gratitude. Now I look at them and them waking up during their day and offering us their story with le porte, with these gates. It feels like they're still standing, doing their job after hundreds and hundreds of years. They're still standing there as if somebody set them to watch over the city of Florence but never told them that their job was done. I found that very poignant, and that's what I tried to reflect in the piece Standing Watch. So the piece, "This is the Gateway to Heaven," is actually a quote from Latin that is inscribed in one of the doorways at San Miniato al Monte, the church at the top of the hill south of town. The Latin is "Haec est porta caeli," and it's from the 12th century. Beautiful concept. And the challenge with writing the piece is that I wanted to express my feeling, but the feeling there's so many different parts to it. There is the walk up to it, which is it's a really steep hill. So you have to walk up all of these steps to get there. And then you walk in, and it's this gorgeous, humble, but gorgeous space. And one of the first times I was there was at Vespers, so I actually got to hear the monks chanting Gregorian chant during Vespers. It was just an amazing experience for me. And this is one of the pieces that has the largest number of sort of literal descriptions. So you'll hear at the beginning of the piece a Gregorian chant, or something that sounds like a Gregorian chant, and in the bass you will hear these rising tones which reflect the walk up to the church. So there are these clues in the music that reflect the physical reality of the space, but at the end of the day, what I'm hoping this piece reflects is the humility and beauty and sincerity that you feel when you are in San Miniato al Monte. It's just a beautiful location, humble and authentic. It's one of my favorite places in all of Florence. So writing a piece for the Duomo is the most difficult piece on the album, simply because the Duomo has such an enormous historical weight, and it is such a magnificent structure. Everything about it says epic. But I wanted to write a 3.5-minute piece that reflected my experience with the Duomo, and I struggled for months to figure it out. It only occurred to me when we were walking from the train station to our apartment one night that I realized that my personal experience with the Duomo is primarily about those late night hours, because we pass by it whenever we come in or leave on the train, which is usually in odd hours. So at night, you don't have crowds of people, the stores are shut down, it's dark, but you can walk around the Duomo and just exist in its shadow and reflect on your experience in Florence and reflect on the building itself without having that overwhelming sense of epicness that the Duomo gives off. And ultimately, the evening reverence is just about my intense gratitude and love of this building, which when I was a kid and I saw it years and years ago, I didn't even like it. I thought it was a layer cake. But now this building, I'm just deeply, deeply thankful for. And I hope that the piece Evening Reverence recognizes that, appropriately expresses that gratitude. So writing the piece for the Arno was one of the more difficult, but ultimately ended up being my favorite piece. And I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I do have a favorite piece. So the challenge with this was trying to ignore the enormous history. The Arno has witnessed the expansion of Florence for 2,000 years, since original Roman origins in 53 or 83, a long time ago, and really just focus on my experience with it. And my experience with the Arno is just peace and calm. So the piece, Flowing Gently By, is just about the experience of walking along this river and being recentered to this nature and time and the passage of time. The moment I hear this piece start, I am transported to the edge of the river, watching the ripples, watching the things flow by, watching this river continue its journey through the city of Florence, which it has done as long as it has existed. So Last Dance was not actually written for this album. I was challenged to write a piece in an odd time signature, and I ended up writing a piece that, for me, was an expression of two people dancing together for the last time. They knew that this was the end of their time together. So it has this deep melancholy to it. It's in an odd time signature, but I think it works wonderfully. It feels like a waltz, but a little cumbersome waltz. But as I wrote it, I was living here at the time, I had this epiphany that someday our time here in Florence would come to an end. We would have our last dance with this city. And I have a hard time talking about it because this city is something I've grown to love so deeply. But this piece, Last Waltz, is a recognition that everybody who comes here eventually leaves. And if they've had an experience anything like mine, they have come to be changed by this city. And saying goodbye to it is really hard. It is a combination of grief and gratitude, which is ultimately what I tried to express in this piece, Last Dance.
I hope you've enjoyed this reflective episode with Rob, and I certainly want to thank him for collaborating with me and for sharing his original music with me on this episode. It certainly has brought each chapter to life. Rob's details can be found in the video description below. Rob's musical piece, The Last Dance, I found quite thought-provoking. At some point, we'll all have our last dance here in Florence and leave. What will our lasting impressions be? Maybe this guy. So what memories will stay with you? Perhaps it's gazing up at Michelangelo's David, climbing the 463 steps of the Duomo, perhaps getting lost in the corridors of Uffizi, admiring the Piazza della Repubblica with the wonderful carousel spinning around. For me, hearing the church bells of a morning at 7 a.m, first bell of the day, I don't need to check my watch. Your first taste of a bistecca alla Florentino, or perhaps sipping a bold Chianti at a small wine bar at Piazza Santo Spirito. I love that spot. Perhaps your memory is crossing the Ponte Vecchio, strolling up to Piazzale Michelangelo and standing in silence as Florence unfurls below you, or just that moment when you realise you're walking along the same laneways as the Medici and those Renaissance greats. That's powerful stuff. Expat Lifestyle with Babs. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you have, give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, what memory am I going to take away from Florence when it's my turn to leave? Certainly all of the above, for sure. But for me, what I really do enjoy is meeting family and friends at the train station and just enjoying the excitement and wonder that they experience and helping to contribute to their stay here in Florence to be a bit more efficient, because expat knowledge certainly helps. And that is a positive, fun-filled experience, a shared experience that then becomes a wonderful memory. And I think that's what I'll be taking away from Florence when it is my turn to leave this wonderful city. I really do enjoy meeting any of you who are watching this particular content that I produce. Give me a call if you are arriving in Florence, and I'm only too happy to share my experiences with you, give you some shortcuts, and give you one of my 2-hour introductory walks, which typically end at Santo Spirito Piazza, where we enjoy a nice red wine, like I did with a great Canadian group not so long ago. A shout out to you guys. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your stay in Tuscany. Look like you're having a great time. It's about time for me to leave until next episode, of course. By the way, summer's arrived. 34 degrees Celsius, which puts it up to about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Summer has arrived, and it's going to be like this for the next 2 or 3 months, without a doubt. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this one. Ciao for now, and I'll see you next episode.